Good morning, Demi. Here is your machine. This is the Breville Barista Express in salted black licorice. As you saw in the photos, it's in very good condition. The only part that's not very good is the front tray. So there are a few chips here from the cup going in and out of the area. But otherwise, the unit is very, very clean, only about a year old. I've just finished doing the service, which entails doing the cleaning cycle, the descale cycle, vacuuming and calibrating the grinder, and doing a pressure test and a leak test. Everything checks out, everything's perfect. In this video, I'll be making espresso. I would make a latte, but I don't have milk actually today, so I'll be settling for an espresso shot with a bit of hot water, so that's a long black actually. And yeah, let's get right into it. So, when you wake up in the morning, I'd recommend you turn on the machine the first thing you do. Give it 5 to 10 minutes to warm up. If you're in a hurry, you can warm it up a bit quicker. So just turn it on and get your cup, put it underneath, and run a single or a double shot. That's going to run some hot water through the handle into the cup, warming those up. And if you could let it wait for 5 or 10 minutes before that, that's even better. But if you can't, that's fine. I'll put that on the side. Next, you want to take out the portafilter and grab a tissue. You want this portafilter dry, so that when you grind, it doesn't affect your brewing. So your machine comes with I think 3 or 4 baskets. This is the one I would use. It's the double shot single wall basket. That's the original one, and that's the one they use in the cafes, etc. It takes about 18 grams of coffee. I have a scale here that I'm gonna use to measure the inputs and outputs of the machine. You don't have to, but it's better if you do it in the beginning just to get an idea of what settings to use and how much a shot looks like. Now I've got some Aldi beans in the bean hopper, the dark roast. Not very fresh because the bag is about a month old, I think, but they should do the trick. Now the brew settings will depend, and the grind settings will depend on what bean you use. So I'll try to set it up with my beans, but if you use a slightly different bean that's better or worse or darker or lighter, it will affect the brew time as well and the settings. Okay. But hopefully I'll put it roughly in the ballpark so you don't have to mess too much with the settings. I'll turn on my scale and put it on 0. Get the portafilter. So you have one of 2 options. Either grind the double dose right away. That's going to fill the portafilter. And sometimes it spills as you take it out because it's full. Or you can do the single shot twice. Or the single grind twice. That way you don't have as much mess and spillage out of the portafilter. And that's what I'm going to do, because that's what I prefer usually on this model. Grind size is at number 2. I did have a look at the grind texture before the video, and number 2 seemed on the closest side to espresso. I was on 6 before and it was too large, almost like sand, large particle size, versus it's a bit finer on number 2. We'll try that now. If we have to change it, we'll change it. That's the first dose. Looks like we got a lot. Actually, we got 9.2, so not too bad. So if we do this twice, we'll get 18 and a half. This is the important bit. You want to press the first dose. When you press the first dose, it makes way for the second dose so that the second dose doesn't spill out when you grind it. If you don't want to do this 2-step process, there is a tool that you can buy. It's called a collar, like a collar for the portafilter, and that's going to prevent the spills. But if you don't, it's fine. And this is the second dose. Let's have a look at what it is. Oh, perfect. So now it's 18.1 grams. This is amazing. I'll leave it there. Most machines behave the same, so if you put it on 12 o'clock position and do the single, it gives you about 9 grams. This is very good. Spread it around. Make sure it's roughly flat. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat before you press it. But now I'm just spreading it with my finger so that when I do press it with a tamper, it exerts equal pressure all around the coffee. If you have like a little mountain in the middle, or like a little mound in the middle, and you press that, the middle will be highly compacted and the sides around it will be loose. So that's why you want to spread it around with your finger, or I don't know if you have a tool, a flat tool there you can push it with. Press it nice and firm. And I think this is perfect. It's if you don't have a scale, there is a trick that you can learn. When you grind the coffee and press, after you press, have a look at the depth of the tamper. So the silver part, this silver part on the tamper, should disappear when you have about 18 grams. If it's too high and you can't press any further and you can still see the silver part, that's a lot of coffee in your portafilter. That means you need to remove some of it. You do have the included razor tool. In the scenario where you do have too much coffee and you can still see the silver part on the tamper when you press, you can use the razor tool to scrape off the excess, which I think I might do actually, because I have just a touch more than I needed. I can still see some of the silver part. You probably can't on camera. On the other hand, if the tamper is too deep into the portafilter and the silver part is way deep into the machine, like into the portafilter, that's too little coffee. So say it sinks all the way here, that's too little. That's much less than 18 grams. Now this is 18.1, and I think with this bean, maybe 17.5 would have been better. So I'm going to scrape off the excess by rotating the razor tool. And give it just a polish. That looks much better. This is probably 17.5. My scale turned off. Very convenient. But yeah. So what does this mean for the settings? I'll probably put it on one notch lower. So that's probably going to be 17, maybe 17.5 grams. But look, I'll leave it to you. See how you go. At least now you know the theory. If you have a scale, do what I'm doing. Try to get about 17.5 to 18 grams in your basket. But yeah, otherwise let's proceed. It's been a while since we started the video. So we measured the input at, let's say, 17.5. The output should be about double of that. So that's a 2-to-1 ratio. For every gram of ground coffee, we need 2 grams out into the cup. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to measure the output. Now, the only other thing that I will change on your behalf is the, the short volume. So this machine has a few variables to play with. We spoke about the grind size. Basically, if the grind size is too fine, if it's too small, the brew amount will be too small, and so it will take a long time. Or let's just say, if the grind size is small, the output will be small. If the grind size is large, the output will be large. Or let's say the speed. Speed will be quick and large if the grind size is large. And if it's very fine, it'll be a slow speed, a small speed, if you can think about it that way. That's basically, yeah, if the coffee is like flour and you're trying to push water through it, it'll be very hard. That's on the finer side. And if it's very large, like for example on 10 or 15, that means water is going through gravel, which is very easy to go through, or like big rocks. That's the analogy I like to think of. The shot volume out of the box is a bit too long. So I spoke about a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you want a good espresso shot, it should be double of what you put in terms of ground coffee. So in this case, we will be aiming for 35 grams. Give or take, a few grams, give more or less is fine. But yeah, 35 is the number I'll be aiming for. If I use the original settings, it'll probably give me like 50. That's just my experience. From factory, Breville calibrates this button to be way too large of an amount. So I will recalibrate that for you, and I'll make it give me about 35 to 40 grams. Some people put this scale and do the shot that way. Let's see if this fits. Some cups don't fit. Oh, just barely. Yeah, it does fit actually. We'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I'll start it now, and then I'll stop it at when it's about 35-40 grams. It's good to note the time as well. Remember what I said before about grind size? If the 35 grams takes me an entire minute to brew, that's way too long. If it takes me 10-15 seconds to brew, that's way too quick. We want to aim for about 25 seconds, give or take. So our 35 gram shot should take 25 seconds. Hopefully that's not too complicated. At the end of the day, don't be overwhelmed. Just do whatever tastes best. If you get stuck and you want something that tastes better, just follow this video. But at the end of the day, this is not a science experiment. This is just coffee. To change the volume, I will press program and then the button I want to program. Yeah, so that took 16 seconds. On the quicker side. I should probably, again, mention that with older beans, brew time will be quicker. If you have very good, very fresh beans, this won't be this quick. I'll probably leave it there. If I were to make this better, I would probably jump to grind size number 1. So that's a little bit finer. That will bring the speed down, and that will prolong the brew time from 16 to maybe 20, hopefully 22, 25. I won't make another shot. This is a drinkable shot, I would say. If you're interested, the taste differences between quick versus slow. The quicker shots will taste a bit more sour and more fruity, whereas the darker shots will taste more thicker and more, I don't want to say bitter, but yeah, they can be bitter if it's too over extracted. But in this case, yeah, it's a bit on the acidic side. If you drink black coffee, then I would worry more about the settings, like straight black coffee. If you add sugar and water and milk, the flavors will be masked anyway, so you don't have to be as perfect with your extractions. But yeah, I will say again, this shot was made on grind size number 2 on about 11 o'clock position here twice, and using the double shot. Now, the double shot will give you 35 to 40 grams, hopefully, because I just recalibrated it now on video. This shot is exactly 40 grams, and if I were to slow it down, it'll give me less than 40 grams, maybe 35, if I grind finer. When you get this machine, get your favorite bean, use the exact same settings as me. So that's grind size number 2, that's grind amount on 11, on single twice, and press the double button. See what you get. If you have a scale to measure it, perfect. Measure it and let me know how long it takes. If you get about 40 grams or 35 to 40 grams in 30 seconds, that is perfect. If you get the same as me, if it's very quick and around 15 seconds for the shot, that's too slow, that's too quick. 25 to 30 is very good, 15 seconds is very quick. Hopefully if you have a better quality bean, a fresher bean, it will go towards that 25-second, 30-second mark. If you make coffee and you get much more than 35 seconds for the shot, for example, if you get a whole minute, that's too slow. So you'll need to increase the grind size to speed it up. A lot of things mentioned in this video. Hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming. If you do get stuck, if you have any questions, just shoot them through. Now this is the espresso shot on its own. If you want to convert this into a latte or a cappuccino, add some milk. I don't have some milk, so I'll just show you the technique. turn on the steamer. Obviously, firstly, fill the jug about halfway, just below the spout line, about halfway with cold, full cream milk. If you drink cow's milk, other milk types you can still froth, but I prefer cow's milk just because it's easier to work with. So on this machine, it's a single boiler, so when you turn on the steam, you have to wait. It takes about 10-15 seconds. You can use that time to go grab the milk from the fridge and fill this up about halfway if you want to be efficient about it. Otherwise, you can just wait. Once you see the steam coming out, turn it off. Position the jug like this, with the tip. So I'm just going to turn it on so it doesn't turn off. Position the jug like this at an angle with the tip close to the surface and keep the milk spinning in the vortex and turn it on. Keep spinning it, and when the jug is too hot to the touch, turn it off, remove, and get a wet cloth and wipe straight away. It'll now cool down. So it cools down to espresso temperature now. You can make another shot. And in terms of cleaning, it's very easy. Just knock it off into a box. Give it a quick rinse. And if you want to be extra nice to your machine, grab a tissue or a cloth and wipe the edges and the crevices here. There's some ground coffee almost always. Even if you do the flush, there's a tiny bit of coffee left in the edges. So just give it a good wipe. Your machine will be happy. And that's cleaning. And in terms of the milk, always get a wet cloth and wipe it, because it gets really hot. Obviously, it's metal contacting steam. It gets really hot, so you want to wipe it straight away so the milk doesn't harden and clog up the holes. We also have a hot water tap here that I'm going to use to give me cold, straight from the boiler hot water. You can get hot water from the group head, but that may have some coffee grounds associated with it. Cool. So that's espresso and a bit of a teaching tutorial on the Breville Barista Express. Thanks again for watching, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. I hope I haven't forgotten anything in this video. What else to say? Like, the machine is pretty, I would say, easy to use once you get after that learning curve. Once you pass that learning curve of, you know, what settings to use and how to froth the milk, there are much better videos that will teach you how to steam milk. In this video, I couldn't, like I said, and even if I could steam milk, it would be hard to show you on camera how to steam it. So I guess go on YouTube, search how to froth milk or how to steam milk on the Barista Express. Once you learn how to use it, it's very rewarding to make, you know, latte art and really nice coffees with it. Yeah, the machine will also remind you when to clean, when to descale. If the light is solid, it means clean. It means it needs to descale. If it's flashing, this cleaning light, if it's flashing, that means you need a cleaning cycle. So those are two separate cycles. Replace the water tank filter every 6 months, approximately. Vacuum the grinder every few months. So by removing the hopper and vacuuming the burrs and what's under the burr, the top burr, I mean. Yeah, I think it should last you ages. This machine is very reliable, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.